Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive.
Excited to be here.
Today we're going to be talking about Freida McFadden's brand new thriller, The Crash,
Yes.
which came out like just a few days ago, January 28th, 2025.
Mhm.
And we are so lucky because we've got an early review
Always good.
from someone who seems to have absolutely loved it. So
Awesome.
let's jump right in.
Yeah, what really struck me about this book is how McFadden takes this everyday thing like a car crash.
Right.
And she makes it into this catalyst for this whole world of secrets, you know?
Yeah.
It's not even really about the crash itself. It's like the chain reaction of it.
Yeah, it's like that earthquake that starts it all off.
Yeah, exactly.
And, the reviewer was especially into how it, totally wrecks the main character's life, Dr. Samantha Bennett.
Yeah, she's got it all right.
Ooh.
Successful surgeon.
Terrific family.
Beautiful home.
And then crash.
Everything changes.
And I think what's really cool about McFadden is that she doesn't just tell a straightforward story. She's got these multiple timelines and perspectives.
Yeah, it's like you're putting a puzzle together with Samantha.
As you go.
And you're questioning everyone.
Oh my gosh. I was so hooked from the moment the reviewer even mentioned the twists in this book.
Oh, yeah.
They said they were gasping out loud.
Okay.
Just staring at the pages.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're not just there for shock value.
Yeah.
They really change how you see the characters, especially Dr. Bennett.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You see her go from this untouchable surgeon to someone who's dealing with fear and doubt and having to dig into her own past.
Yeah, and the reviewer really pointed out that McFadden doesn't make those perfect heroes.
Right.
Samantha, even though she's the good guy, she's got flaws.
Of course, every good character has flaws.
She makes bad decisions.
Yeah, and that's what makes it relatable,
Exactly.
We can all see ourselves in her.
Yeah, and the reviewer also mentioned how fast-paced this book is. And I think it's because of how McFadden writes these short, punchy chapters.
Oh, you're so good.
It's she just keeps throwing logs on the fire.
It's you can't stop reading.
Right, and psychologically, it's you just have to see what happens next.
Yeah, I have to know.
But, okay, so we've got this crazy car crash, a main character whose life is falling apart, twists galore.
Yeah.
But The Crash is obviously more than just a thriller.
Oh, for sure.
The reviewer mentions some deeper themes like trust and betrayal and secrets.
Oh, good stuff.
Things that make you really think even about your own life.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's amazing how McFadden just weaves those themes into the story.
Seamlessly.
So it's not just abstract ideas.
No, you really see it play out.
And what the characters do and why they do it.
Yeah, and it makes you ask yourself, what would I do?
Yeah, and then there's the setting, which the reviewer also loved.
McFadden's descriptions are amazing.
It says you can practically smell the rain and feel the chill.
Well, especially on those eerie, rain-soaked streets.
But obviously no book is perfect.
True.
And the reviewer did mention a couple of things that weren't so great.
Like what?
Well, they said that some of the side characters could have been fleshed out more.
That's fair.
But, I think that happens a lot in these twisty thrillers.
It's you're so focused on the plot
Yeah.
that you lose some of the character depth.
Right. It's like a trade-off.
You get the excitement, but maybe not as much character development.
And the reviewer also said the ending felt a little rushed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe McFadden wrapped things up a little too neatly.
Interesting.
I guess we'll have to see for ourselves.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
But for now, let's get into some of those juicy twists.
Okay, so what really stood out to you?
Well, for me, it was when we find out that the car crash might not have been an accident after all.
Oh, wow.
That changes everything.
That's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
It really does. It's suddenly we're in a whole different genre.
Right. It's not just a woman trying to rebuild her life.
No.
It's she's the target.
Yeah, who would want to hurt her and why?
Right.
That's the big question. And McFadden does such a good job of giving you clues and then throwing you off.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure it out the whole time.
But let's get back to Samantha for a second.
Okay.
Her perfect life is over.
Right.
But how does she actually deal with it all?
Well, you know what I love about McFadden's characters?
Yeah.
Is that they're not perfect.
Right.
Samantha is a brilliant surgeon.
Yeah.
But she's also human.
Right.
She makes mistakes. She gets scared. She's not.
Right. She's not a superhero.
It
makes her way more interesting.
Exactly, because we can all relate to that.
So it's not she can just magically fix everything.
Yeah, no, she has to figure out who she can trust and deal with her own past.
And she's not alone in this, right?
Of course not.
There are other people who are affected by the crash.
Like her husband, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, what about him?
Well, at first he seems like this total rock.
Yeah, the supportive husband.
But then as you read on, you start to wonder, What are his motives? Is he really there for her?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it makes you question everything.
And then there's her best friend, Lisa.
Oh, Lisa. She's a good one.
What's up with her?
She's super loyal, but also kind of impulsive.
Oh. So, like, she means well.
Yeah.
But maybe doesn't always make the best choices.
Which is interesting, right? Because it makes you think about
yeah.
what real loyalty is.
Totally.
And how even our friends can sometimes mess things up.
Right. Like, we all make mistakes.
We all have blind spots.
And then there are all these other side characters.
Oh, yeah. McFadden loves a good cast of characters.
And they all have their own secrets.
Of course.
And motivations.
It's like this big web.
Yeah. And it's like everyone's in this play. But no one knows the whole script.
And with each twist, the stakes get higher.
Totally. And it's like you don't even know what's real anymore.
That's the genius of McFadden.
You mentioned that one of the big twists comes early on. But what are some of the other ones that really blew you away?
Well, without spoiling too much.
Of course.
Let's just say that Samantha finds some stuff that suggests that this whole thing is way bigger than just her.
Oh, wow.
Like she might be caught up in some huge conspiracy.
So it's not just about someone trying to hurt her personally.
No, it's something much darker.
And who are these people involved?
We meet some pretty shady characters.
Like who?
Corrupt officials.
Oh, God.
Ruthless businessmen.
Okay, this is intense.
Yeah, and they'll do anything to protect themselves.
It's like she's in a spy movie.
And as the danger increases, we see Samantha change too.
How so?
She has to become tougher and smarter.
Yeah.
And more willing to take risks.
It's like she has to become a different person to survive.
Exactly. And it's inspiring to see her find that strength.
Okay, so we've got this conspiracy, these powerful people. But what about the person behind it, all the mastermind?
That's the big mystery, right?
Yeah, and who is it?
Well, McFadden doesn't make it easy to figure out.
Of course not.
She gives you little hints.
Yeah.
But she also misdirects you.
It's like she's playing a game with us.
And when you finally find out who it is, it's shocking.
Really?
Someone you've already met.
No way.
Someone who's been there all along.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to go back and look for clues.
You definitely will.
But hold on, there's one more thing.
What's that?
You mentioned those twists, the ones that make you gasp.
Oh, yeah.
Is there one that stands out as like the most mind-blowing?
For me, it's the one at the very end.
Oh no, come on. You can't just say that.
Sorry, I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, fine, but it sounds like it changes everything.
It really does. You see the whole story in a new light.
I can't wait.
You're going to love it.
Okay. But before we get to the ending, I want to talk about McFadden's writing itself.
Oh, she's such a talented writer.
The reviewer was raving about those short chapters.
And the pacing.
And the descriptions.
It's like she knows exactly how to build suspense.
Yeah, she doesn't waste any words.
And those short chapters keep you hooked.
It's like you can't stop reading.
You always want to know what happens next.
But it's not just about the plot, either.
Right.
She's also really good at, like, getting inside the characters' heads.
Yeah, and making you think about, like, psychology and stuff.
It's like she's showing us what it means to be human.
With all our flaws and everything.
That's definitely entertaining, but it also makes you think.
That's the best kind of thriller.
Okay, but as much as I love talking about all this, I need to know what happens next.
Right.
Like, how does Samantha get out of this mess?
Well, that's for you to find out.
Oh, come on.
But I will say that there are consequences.
Well.
Like, people get hurt.
Okay, you're killing me.
And there are some really tough choices.
Now I really need to read it.
I know you're going to be up all night.
All right, so we've talked about the conspiracy and the danger, but let's also talk about what happens after.
Yeah, the aftermath.
Like, how do things change for Samantha and everyone else?
That's a great question.
Okay, so we've talked about all the crazy twists and the suspense. But I'm really curious about, like, what happens after all that?
Yeah, the aftermath.
Does Samantha, like, find any peace?
Well, one of the things that makes this book so good is that it doesn't just pretend that everything goes back to normal.
Right.
Like, there are real consequences.
So it's not just, like, happy ending for everyone.
No, like, the characters have to live with what happened.
Deal with the trauma and the pain.
Exactly, and McFadden doesn't give you any easy answers.
Like about forgiveness or healing.
Right, it's messy.
You mentioned justice earlier.
Yeah.
But you also said it wasn't straightforward.
Well, it's tricky because the characters aren't just good or bad.
Right, like in real life.
Exactly. They all have their reasons for doing what they do.
So is it even possible to say if there's real justice?
That's a good question, and I think McFadden wants us to think about that.
Yeah, like what does justice even mean?
Right. Is it punishment or understanding or something else?
It's like she's making us question everything.
And it's not just about who did what to whom.
Right.
It's about how we're all connected and how our actions affect each other.
It sounds like this book really makes you think.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
It's not just a fun thriller.
Right. It's got some real depth to it.
And I think that's what makes it so memorable.
So for anyone who wants a thriller that will keep them up all night, The Crash is definitely a good choice.
But it's also more than that.
Yeah, it's a story that will stick with you.
And make you think about your own life.
Well, I know I'm adding this to my to-read list.
You won't regret it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Crash.
It was fun.
We've talked about the twists, the characters, the themes, and the aftermath of it all.
It's a wild ride.
We hope you enjoyed it, and until next time,
Happy reading, everyone.
keep those pages turning.